How's it going, Spaceports? Vethlane here, and today we've got a fresh new game to talk about. This is R.I.P. or Reincarnation Insurance Program. This is a top-down roguelike vampire survivor style game that leans heavily on Diablo-style looting to help progress your character. This is out now in early access, and the devs were very kind to grant me a free copy to review, which is kind of funny because I had already played the demo that had been released for this game a while ago on one of the Steam Next Fests, I believe it was, and I thought it had a little bit of promise behind it. So I'm really excited to dive back into the full early access release and see what's going on, what's been added, and how fun it's going to be. Now, I've put a little bit of time into this, as I've said, so we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to take you through just one run. They're about 15-16 minutes long, pretty short turnaround time on this one, and we're going to see if it's something that you want to add to your wish list or take advantage of the early access launch discount, which is going to be live until February 8th. Now, right here in the hub, you can already see we have a store, a merchant, and you can see my character over here is already pretty well kitted out. It actually carried over some of my gear from the demo into the early access release. I guess I had my save backed up on my computer, so shout out to them for that. But I'm pretty well kitted out here, so we're going to play on difficulty 2, but you can buy new gear. Everything has all of these stats, all these modifiers, and I'm sure as we get to higher difficulty levels, I'm going to be looking more at making these synergize more, but for now, I'm just kind of getting the highest rarity that I can. I also have a warehouse that stores a bunch of my extra loot. There are multiple characters that you can pick from and unlock, and so far the starting character is the most well balanced, so we're going to stick with her for this video. And then you also have a branching talent tree, which is different for every single character in the game, and you can assign points to different nodes to get your standard little skill ups and damage ups and so on and so forth. And then you also have a quest that you can complete to get additional rewards. So already a really robust progression system has been placed inside of this game. Let's go ahead and deploy. You know what? I just unlocked the frost field, so I'm going to take this down to risk level 2. Let's play on risk level 2. I don't want it to be too easy. I think I would probably wipe out through risk level 1 and just steamroll the game. So we're going to play on risk level 2. Let's go ahead and deploy. I don't want to keep you waiting too long. As always, there's a bunch of cool links down in the description, including the link to this game. So go ahead and check it out, see if it's something that you would like to add to your retinue. You can see already we just have hordes of monsters running at us. There's a lot of action right off the bat, and these drop downs are level up loot. So this is kind of a Hades style perk system where you get different factions give you different types of upgrades, and then you can pick from those different upgrades and keep building into one in a mono build, or you can branch out and chain different things together, and it becomes very helpful for you. For this character, I think I'm going to go, yeah, let's go with explosive rounds. I kind of like that. Increases weapon damage and hits apply a sticky charge that blow up on the ground. These changing your gun bullet type is very, very helpful because, oops, I had my hand on the wrong buttons on the keyboard. Wow, pro gamer alert, look out. Because those bullet mods add damage to your overall build, which you're going to need quite a bit of by the end of the game, especially as you raise up higher difficulty levels. Okay, increased damage dealt with manual aim shots. That's interesting. Blade ring dash looks pretty cool as well, and then increases all healing received. Let's do blade ring dash. I like that. Generally, I try to go for the highest rarity drop that I can on any given thing, but sometimes there's a specific build that you want to go after, and that's what it takes to get there. Okay, so I'm going to bump up my explosive round level, already getting a 36% damage bonus to my base damage, which is pretty handy. This is one of those games where there's a lot of numbers working behind the screens, and you really aren't going to know all of them at any given moment unless you're a giant nerd, which I'm not. Shout out to all the giant nerds, though, because you're doing something I cannot. So you just kind of go off vibes sometimes. All right, so gunships support a tactical skill. Call in an aerial gunship to strafe a line of enemies. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. This is going to periodically, you can see, call in some additional firepower to help me out. And I'm sure you could already tell, but we do have a dodge button that can be modified, and we've already modified it with some rotating blades. Good deal. Got home run, automatically swing the bat to reflect enemies' bullets. This is a new one. I've never seen this before. Triggers a cooldown after each use. Each reflected bullet grants additional health regeneration. You know what? I like that. Let's go ahead and do that. That's going to bounce back projectiles at the enemies, which are going to be showing up later on, and gives me healing. So I like the vibe of that. And this is definitely a spectacle game. There's a lot going on. You're going to be just covered up in dudes later on down the line. Gain armor for each nearby enemy affected by status. I do like that. I think I'm going to go with an upgraded home run since it's a purple. I feel like that's going to be useful in maintaining my health later on. And one last thing here, you see my little android buddy running around. That's actually something that comes from these gloves. Yes, summon an android ally to aid in combat. So your gear can actually bring stuff into the battle with you and make your game change up how it plays in a pretty significant way. So it's worth poking around and seeing what kind of cool stuff that you can find. Now, Reincarnation Insurance Program, it is published by a studio called 2P Games, who, if you're familiar with Vampire Survivor style games, they also published Greedland, which was a very well reviewed, very similar type of game to this, which I also greatly enjoy. Warmcore Studio is the developer. They're a very small dev team, about 10 people and 4 assistants, I think it is. And so far, I've been pretty well excited about this. It's a really neat idea, and I think that as they add some more stuff to the game, it's really going to flesh it out and make the difference for a lot of gamers. Good deal. So I went ahead and got an active skill. This is a time field, and I think it said it slows down everything that's within the time field. I'm going to have to check and see what that perk actually does next time, because I was busy yapping. That's always my problem. I'm always yapping in videos, not paying attention to what's going on. I'm going to have to see how... Oh, it's right here. Another one popped up right in front of my face. Deploy a slowing field at your location. Enemy movement speed is reduced inside, and we gain fire rate and reload speed while sitting inside. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. Oh, we got an elite here. We got an elite. Okay, so you can see I have a grenade there. I'm going to take advantage of that. We grab the Fortune Toad, which is giving us a magnet for all of our XP. Bunches of level ups. Good stuff. And another legendary. Oh my gosh, the machine gun drone. That's going to be helpful because we have machine guns. It's going to lean right into our build. After firing the last bullet in the magazine, fire multiple projectiles outward from yourself. I do like that. That is a tried and true on every run I've done with this character. The bullet spitting after reload has always been pretty helpful. This character, as you can probably tell, being an SMG character, it excels in things that proc on hit or any kind of like bullet splitting or ricochets that you can get. Very, very helpful in this. Okay, so this is a modifier for our thrown weapon, which is our grenade right now. We're not going to take that. I don't particularly like this specific upgrade, but we are going to bump up the rarity of our dash, which is going to boost our distance bonus damage and AoE, and also make every upgrade give us more as we go along. So you can see up here at the top, we have a timer. We also have 2 skulls on the progress bar, and as you can imagine, when we reach those, we're going to be able to fight a big honking boss. And that's going to always be fun. I've never played this map before, so I'm interested to see what the bosses are. Explosions are art. We got a mythic, and it's a passive. Explosion Tech has a 10% chance to deal 500% damage. That's awesome. We're going to take that. We are going to now put a bunch of points into Explosion Tech if we get that opportunity. Okay, this guy right down here, the Doom Hunter from Doom Eternal or whatever it is, this guy's annoying as all get out. I'm going to try to take him out ASAP. I really don't like this enemy. He's a thorn in my side. And you've probably been noticing me running around in these little diamonds up here in the mini-map. These are basically interactable objects which give us different things. I like to think of these sort of like the shrines that you find in the map in Diablo that give you either large temporary bonuses to things like XP or attack or something like that, or long-time bonuses like this one, which is going to let us augment our spawn rate of different perks that we get in the perk pool. So I'm going to go ahead and push a +3 on Legendary. We've been getting pretty good luck on the Legendary already. And let's boost our luck a little bit more, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and boost our luck a little bit more, and then I'm going to start trying to jump on the explosion train, starting with our next level up, because I want to capitalize on that gigantic boost that the mythic perk is going to give us. And if we're lucky enough to get another level of that mythic, it'll be even better. Okay, so this is corrosive. I'm going to alter. Alter lets us change the faction, which we got lucky and got explosion on our first one. So, okay, I'm going to keep... We've already got a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. I'm going to keep upgrading our explosive rounds. This is taking it to epic, which is going to be good. And because of our main attack being linked to an explosion tech, I think that is going to be very useful, because that gives us a chance to get that 500% damage bonus on our normal bullets, if I read everything correctly. Okay, let's see. Home run, Giant Slayer, damage bonus against elites and boss. I'm going to go ahead and take that, because especially on difficulty 2 and above, you start getting some really beefy boss health bars, and it becomes a battle of attrition. Now you can see I've gotten my first piece of gear that has dropped, the Suppressor Heavy Armor. And you can open up your inventory at any time and take a look at what you've got. And here's all of those background numbers for the nerds that I was talking about. Just a ton of stuff. A ton of stuff. It's very, very well documented. This is great. I'm too dumb to make use of a lot of that. But you're going to go ahead and get these. And this is kind of the core gameplay. There's a lot of that in this. Of how you're supposed to get stronger as you get these loot drops and replay the missions. And thank you, devs, for making the missions short so that it doesn't feel like a slog to get through multiple runs and have more chances at better gear, because this kind of gives you the MMO Diablo itch of gear collecting, which also helps your meta progression in the roguelike, which I really appreciate. Oh, now we have somebody actually shooting back at us. So maybe we'll get to use some of that home run bat swinging to bounce it back, or I just obliterate him. That's fine too. Okay, this is probably my favorite perk from the Mechatech line, the Shadow Blade. Hitting an enemy launches 3 disc blades behind them. So that's going to do 22 damage to each person it hits behind the one you're shooting, and it also gets some piercing ability later on down the line. Okay, premium services. I'm going to take the tactical skill, because we've got both tac slots filled up. We've got the gunship and the machine gun drone, and you can tell it's already getting hairy out here, as it normally does in these survivors-like games. And this one, you know, I definitely feel, there's another piece of gear, I definitely feel like this one's a little bit apart from a lot of survivors games just because of the loot. I really do like chasing it down, and I know that sounds a little shilly, but it is a lot of fun to get something really cool. Like when I got these gloves, that changed the whole way that particular run went. I went from losing the run to equipping these gloves, and this guy carried me for the rest of the run, even though I wasn't playing very optimally. So there's some real benefits to the system they've set up, and I think it's implemented quite well. Okay, so we're at 5 minutes, and we're getting what we have, what we call a threat swarm. And the threat swarm is just a big horde of enemies. You can see them coming up from the bottom there. They are going to be, ooh, look at this. Nanomedic Auxiliary. Summon a medical drone. I'm going to take that. Even though it's just a common drop, I'm going to take that, because healing is hard to get. And if you mess up, you're going to be thankful for anything that you have. Now, pressing Q, I don't know if you guys noticed, it changes my reticle. And I like keeping auto fire on, just because if somebody runs up behind you while you're paying attention to somebody else, you can always just let go of your mouse button, and that's going to shoot at the closest enemy, basically. Which, in the case of this particular character, and having a gun with like 60 or 55 bullets in the magazine, you can afford to do that. The other characters I have unlocked have shotguns, and one of them has a rocket launcher, and those you have to be a little bit more intentional about what you're shooting at. So it might be better to leave it on manual fire for those two characters, but that's up to you and your gameplay style. I don't think there's any one way to play this game. There's a lot of different play styles. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can rely on your stats from your gear and your dodging capabilities to keep you out of trouble, or you can get all these perks like I'm doing right now and do your best to just set up an impregnable fortress. Sort of like what you do in Greedland. If you've ever played Greedland, Greedland is very much in the vein of becoming this giant like gun fortress. Basically, you're a one-man army that's just going sicko mode. Okay, I'm upgrading the Shadow Blade tech, so hopefully we'll be getting some more blades firing out. Yeah, you can see I'm just spraying everywhere. The more we upgrade that, the crazier that effect's gonna get. Okay, so we are pretty much done with the swarm. We should be getting summoned into the boss area soon. And look at this, a new explosion tech. The rocket salvo. After multiple hits, fires a salvo of rockets. So every 4 hits that we do, I know this says hits. Normally you think hits taken, but this is how many hits we dish out. After 4 hits, we're going to be launching rockets. Once again, very strong for a person with an SMG. Just leans right into our massive gun fortress build that we're putting together here. And now we're about to get summoned into the first boss's arena. So we're going to see how we do against this guy. I'm going to let this cutscene play out. Oh, is this twin bosses? 2 bosses at once. Okay, this is new. Fire and ice, baby. Tried and true trope. Okay, the Frostbane twins. Let's rock and roll. Okay, health bar, not that bad. I think this will be manageable. No worries. Okay, don't dash over the fire then. That is a hard zone out. Understood. Understood. So we want to try to keep the fire twin, yeah, set up near the edge of the arena. Unfortunately, they weren't strong enough to kick my ass. Okay, so we got a bunch of good gear drops here. Look at all of this good stuff. Seeing all that gear pop out of the bosses. Oh, and I missed the level up that popped in there. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's fine. But seeing all the gear that drops from bosses in this game is so, so good. Okay, so let's compare this new SMG to the old SMG. So this new one that I have does a little bit more damage. It shoots a little bit slower, and it has a smaller magazine. The reload time is less. It looks like it's going to boost our damage up more. You know what? I think... Oh, but attacks have a 15% chance to fire an additional bullet. Let's go ahead and play with this and see how I feel about it. I don't know that it's going to be a very noticeable difference between these two. They're both very good. But we'll see. The extra bullet feels like that's going to be something very useful for the build that I have right now, in that I'm going to be doing more rocket salvos, more various on-hit procs, like the explosions. Okay, so let's go ahead and upgrade the rocket salvo. That's just going to boost the damage, I think. No big deal. Be handy for multiple reasons. We've got some new enemy types. These guys are like buzzsaw boys that are flying across the ground, dashing at us. Reincarnation beacon. Okay, so this is fire rate and reload speed. Ooh, this one's good. I like this. This affects our character. Range on our throw. Psionic range, dash, damage, and distance. I'm going to do fire rate and reload on our main weapon. Because why wouldn't you want to? We're already throwing so many bullets a second that it's ridiculous. Good deal. Okay, and we're rocking and rolling. I think that we have a pretty good mid-game build now. We're probably going to need to step it up by the end of the run one more time for the final boss, but I think we're doing pretty good. Okay, so chase damage and chase range. This is our rocket salvo. That is a chase ability, so I want to go ahead and get some boosts on that. And once again, everything from the explosion tree that we have has a 10% chance to do 500% of its damage, which is just bonkers. So much damage output. Okay. Killing an enemy with auxiliary weapons has a chance to restore health. This is a hard choice to make right here, but I think I'm going recovery protocol just for a safety net. I don't want to get stuck in a bad position. I've gotten one shot by a boss in this game before. It's crazy. There goes the bat. I shot a bullet back at that guy. Oh, there's two of them now. Okay, well, we fixed that in a hurry. Not a problem. Once I know where the danger's coming from, we can rectify that problem quickly. Gosh, there's a bug. There's a bug. You disgusting creature. Be gone. Here's the perfect cube, which gives us some really good permanent stat bonuses. Be gone, you disgusting cicada. This game, unlike some other games, like I was playing Eversiege Untold Ages the other day and did that video for it, and I mentioned in the video you're kind of locked into your build per character, which is something that I think those devs will fix before the full release. This game, there's a lot of different ways that you can take every single character, and even if I'm shooting an SMG, there's multiple different tech trees that will work with an SMG. I don't have to just like sit there and be like, okay, what's best for the SMG? I have a little bit of choices, which I really, really appreciate that. Also, I wanted to give a shout out. If you watched the Eversiege video that I did, just a shout out to everybody who watched that and supported the channel from that video. That video did way better than I thought it would, and it really touches my heart that you would come out here and spend your free time at the spaceport. So thank you guys for that. And if you haven't watched it, go check it out because it is also a really fun game. Okay, let's go ahead and bump up. You know what? I'm very tempted to take the drum magazine, but this gives me up to 28% damage bonus against the boss. I'm going to take that. Like, if we get stuck with a super tanky boss, the first boss in this map wasn't too tanky. Now, was it just my build and the difficulty level, or was it the bosses themselves? I don't know, but like, some of the other bosses are just ridiculously healthy boys, and I want to make sure that I can have the DPS output to take this guy down. Okay, so let's upgrade our machine gun drone. That's good. Lasts longer, does more damage, and it has grenades, apparently. I did not know it had grenades, but, you know, go off. We're blowing everything up. That's all good. And here's our second threat swarm. One thing that I would like to see, and I know the devs have their specific character models that they have for each character, but when you've got a Diablo-style game where the point is to get a bunch of loot, it's always a good idea to have the equipment change your look, or the look of your character, right? It's always a good idea to have that. I know it's a giant undertaking, and I don't give any games demerits for not doing, but it's something that can really take the quality that is perceived by your players. Even if you only have like 5 or 6 different types or looks for things for every gear slot, that is more than enough. Gain armor for each nearby enemy affected by status ailment. That's not going to help me in the boss fight, so I am going to do Pacer Amplification, almost quadrupling, or not quadrupling, but doubling the amount of damage that I'm putting out. What do we have here? A Valkyrie? Ooh. That's intimidating. What a boss entrance. Way to go, game. The Plague Angel. All right, well, let's see what you got, Plague Angel. This might be one where I'm going to have to dodge a lot. Oh, yes, I forgot to mention, you do have a perfect dodge mechanic. So if you dodge right as damage is about to be dealt to you, you slow down time for a moment, and it doesn't use a dodge charge, which is very, very helpful. Oh my gosh. It just stayed in the middle. Okay. Go ahead and do this. Just swiping around. Oh, hello. Nice ice, baby. Very cool. So far, really liking this boss pattern. Another thing that I would hope to see in higher difficulty levels is, whoa, oh my gosh, this is just like Jotun Slayer. They're summoning all kinds of stuff in the boss fight. Man, I still haven't done a video on Jotun Slayer. It's been out for so long. It's such a good game. It's one of those games that's almost intimidating to do a video on because you know how good it is and how much content there is. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. This game has a lot of little bits and pieces in common with various other games that I've played of the survivors genre lately. I think we got this. We got enough heals to kind of like take the edge off of the single hits we're taking, which is that's pretty much all you need is to take the edge off of single hits that you take. Okay, let's see if we can. Oh, heck yeah, not a single dodge to be seen. You'll love to see it. Oh my god, what's happening? Okay, what an attack. Every boss fight on the final boss that I've noticed generally has 3 phases where their attacks change. I do like that. That is not something that's super common for the survivor genre still. So shout out to them for including that. Some really beefy raid boss style stuff. Good deal. And we have cleared the risk. And look at all this good gear that we got dropped. A bunch of purples and a yellow. Very, very nice. And I'll take a look at those later. I mean, most of my stuff here is already yellow. So I don't think we got anything here outside the boots that we upgraded, but I can bank those for the other characters to give them a boost up when we get started. And so here is how your meta progression is handled. You have ranks for each character, and finishing the level obviously grants you experience on that character, which gives you an additional max HP. And you saw it there for just a moment, but you also get talent that go into that tree. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The game right now, like I said, is out in early access. There's a 10% launch discount, and I think it puts it under 12 USD right now. So if you think this is worth that for you, I do recommend checking this game out. I've spent about 10 hours in it so far, and there's still plenty of stuff for me to do. Characters to unlock and gear to find. So I think this is going to be a good bang for your buck, and hopefully as the early access pans out, we're going to get a lot of bugs squashed, a lot of good stuff added to the game, and it's going to get even better than it is already. So until next time, guys, this is R.I.P. Reincarnation Insurance Program. I'm Svethlane. Do something kind for yourself, do something kind for somebody else, and until next time, have a great day. See ya!